Why haven't the Mavericks simply shut down the Jason Kidd to New York Knicks rumors? We'll dive into the latest Jason Kidd saga next on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carell, and, of course, our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. We are DLLS Mavs. Why haven't the Mavericks simply shut down the Jason Kidd to New York Knicks rumors? Plus, what's the latest when it comes to the courtship of New York and Jason Kidd? We'll get into all that and more over the course of the next hour. Really appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports on this overcast Tuesday here in downtown Dallas. Tim Cato, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm going to be watching the weather. Should have walked. Might have been a mistake. We're going to find out, though.
Will any of us offer you a ride home?
I will.
You didn't drive here.
I did not.
Yeah. You never leave anyway. You're not leaving anytime.
Bobby's perpetually in the studio all the time.
That was an empty offer.
Oh, wow. I'm doing great. Back over 2000 and Blitz. Saw Tennis last night. One of my favorite bands. They're no longer touring. They're no longer making music. So last night was my chance to bid them farewell and
Fantastic
say thank
band.
you.
Look at Patrick in the chat spelling rumors the English way, even though he's in Sweden. Love it. Love it. Point for Patrick.
So life is good. Life is good.
Tennis is a
fair
great show.
warning. Sometimes if it starts storming, our internet gets a little weird. Just stick with us. If anything bad or untoward happens, the whole podcast will be up later today, and the whole VOD will be up on YouTube. So there will be content served to you one way or another, but hopefully we don't even have to deal with that issue.
Mark Stein, how are we feeling on this Tuesday afternoon?
All good. Good times. Fun time of year.
You caught up on sleep?
No, that will be after I'll be after Summer League.
Not after Summer League. What? We got a lot to get to today on today's episode of the DLLS Mavs podcast, because the Jason Kidd to New York Knicks rumors can't stop, won't stop. And we've got to talk about it here on today's show. Our very own Mark Stein dropping the latest on the Knicks coaching pursuit of one Jason Kidd, who is currently under contract, of course, with your Dallas Mavericks for the next couple of years on his contract extension. Various reports saying that that Jason Kidd and the Knicks have mutual interests. The Knicks would like to hire Jason Kidd as their next head coach. Mark Stein, where are we when it comes to the latest with Jason Kidd and the New York Knicks after yesterday's latest round of reporting?
I mean, look, I don't know that we've moved in a huge, I don't know that it's moved in a huge amount of distance since where we were when we discussed it at length. I mean, the Knicks, their interest in Jason Kidd and fondness for Jason Kidd. That's the way I worded it in this. I wrote we obviously did the show yesterday. I did a long story about it last night. That's undeniable. It's just this situation is so complicated. There's a history between these teams. It's like everything in the NBA. There's a level of back channel discussion that we're usually not privy to, and how extensive or expansive that is at this point, I think, is also hard to read. But ultimately, if the Knicks decide they want to go full bore for Jason Kidd, that's when I think things would really start to get set in motion. And I don't think it's clear that they have reached that point. But by the same token, Tom Thibodeau was fired a week ago. Last Tuesday. It was last Tuesday night that I reported the two names I was hearing, Jason Kidd and Ime Udoka. In that same story, I reported that when I checked it out, how would Houston react to an approach for Ime Udoka? It was made very clear to me that it would be batted away, swatted away, don't even try it. I've sought the same kind of response in Dallas, and it has not been conveyed in that same way. And by the same token, there has been nothing but Jason Kidd talk to New York for a week now. And the Knicks have not taken any steps to dissuade media pests like me from writing about Jason Kidd and talking about Jason Kidd. I know Brian Windhorst, my dear friend, I was just sitting with him Sunday night at the finals in Oklahoma City, one of my favorite teammates ever. You know, he was on one of ESPN's shows this morning, and I think the way he said it was,
quote,
yeah, read the quote.
The Knicks absolutely would like to hire Jason Kidd to be their next coach, their next head coach. The question is, will the Dallas Mavericks, quote, allow that, end quote?
So if it is to that point, then this thing gets super interesting, obviously. And again, the two teams involved have not taken any steps to hush this noise. So that's why we're here. That's why this is all. Right now in the NBA, it's the finals, obviously. Giannis and Durant, and this story. There's only one coaching vacancy in the NBA. It's the New York Knicks in the biggest media spotlight in the league. And here we are.
Yeah, I think you bringing up the back channel discussions, something that we are not privy to, something I'm not privy to. Here's the way I see it, kind of putting together the dots, is that there's at least some tentative idea that if the Knicks ask the Mavericks will say no. Tentatively, that is the idea. I agree. We're still talking about this because it has not been definitively stated. Because nobody on the record, nobody forcefully off the record is willing to say Jason Kidd is going to be the Dallas Mavericks head coach next season. But there is a tentative idea that if the Knicks ask, then the Mavericks are going to say no. And once you get a no, in theory, that's a no. You move on. That's the end of the storyline. If the Knicks believe that Jason Kidd can still be their head coach, if there's mutual interest, if there's any idea that Jason Kidd is going to leave Dallas, where you work that out is on the back end. Secretly, quietly, back channels. You don't work that out by going and asking and getting a no. You just leave it open. You just leave the idea floating out there. And with nobody willing to say no, why would the Knicks go ask the Mavericks if they think they're going to hear a no? If they think that Jason Kidd is still in play, which clearly they do, there's not other names floating around that are being linked to
every
New York.
name that is floating around is an employed coach. So the Knicks are going to be in the same position with whoever they go after.
So leave it open. Don't go get the no and just see if there's some way to work it out. If it gets to a point that Jason Kidd is interviewing for, and Kevin, you made this point. I thought it was very good. You made the point yesterday on the show. What do the Knicks have to ask Jason Kidd?
That's one of the big elements here. They already know him.
They know him and they want him.
They already like him. James Dolan knows Jason Kidd because the last season Jason Kidd spent as a player was as a Knick, and that was not just a throwaway season. That was the last 50-win season that the Knicks had until the two that Tom Thibodeau just coached. Jason Kidd was interviewed during the offseason of 2020 when the Knicks hired Tom Thibodeau. I feel like that job realistically was always going to be Thibodeau's, but the word was that Jason Kidd made a very strong impression in that interview process, and that was with the Leon Rose administration, essentially the front office that is there now, apart from Gerson Rosas, who has since been added to that group. And I'm told the Knicks love the idea of a former player turned coach to be their next coach, and Jason Kidd is as successful a player turned coach as we've seen for some time. He checks numerous boxes, and maybe the most important one, no, I shouldn't say that, not the most important one. A very important one, though, is Jason Kidd understands the whole atmosphere in New York. He played as a Net. He coached the Nets. He played as a Knick. He knows what it's like to work in that atmosphere. And Tom Thibodeau, for the last 5 years, has been the front-facing person for the Knicks because we know their front office doesn't talk ever. James Dolan, he did the Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart roommates podcast, but other than that, he's not talking either. The coach is the voice of the organization, and I'm sure the Knicks have done the math and know that Jason Kidd could do that for them. So he checks all these boxes. But Tim said something interesting there, and I just want to add just a little bit of reporting to it. Since I wrote a big story about Kidd also, Kidd and the Knicks' interest in him on Friday. Since then, I've heard what I would describe as a few well-placed observers say exactly what Tim just said. The presumption is the Mavericks would deny permission to speak to Jason Kidd if asked. But I've also heard since then, and this was in my story last night, there is some belief within the organization that the Knicks won't ask. So that's just a couple points of context. But yes, I think it could have been whispered to me or McMahon or Brad Townsend or Tim Cato or whoever you want to say that if the call comes, we're going to turn it down. And that firm declaration to this point, to my knowledge, has not been conveyed to any of us who regularly cover the team.
When NBA teams really want to get something done, the new normal is that they just go try to do it. It doesn't matter about contracts or language or rules. It doesn't matter what the NBA has put in the CBA that says, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Obviously, we know this about tampering. Think back to Derrick Jones Jr. last summer. He fired his agent, signed with Clutch, and there's supposed to be a period that waits between those things to happen. Did that really apply? Did the NBA, did the teams involved, did the Mavericks and the Clippers really abide by that? No, not really. Did anything happen about it? No. Did the Clippers and Derrick Jones more or less get the outcome that they wanted? Yes, or at least in terms of he was represented by somebody who technically probably should not have been representing him in those moments. So there's a lot of situations like this. And, I think to the extent that the Knicks and Jason Kidd need to have an interview, it's probably Jason Kidd saying, how much money do you want me to, do you want to pay me? Is this worth it for me? But this is a situation where we're fixated on the permission to ask for an interview, whether the interview is going to happen, because that's what's public facing. And that's what teams are supposed to abide by. It's very clear to me that everything that is happening outside of those boundaries. And if something happens, then it's not going to be eventually the Knicks ask for permission, get turned down, or get accepted. It's just either going to happen or it's not. Like, this is all happening outside of those boundaries because that's what NBA teams do at this level. Because ultimately,
all of them,
every
30.
single one.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the power lies with the powerful people, not the set of rules that you tell the powerful people to abide by, to obey, to be like, okay, you're supposed to do it this way. Very clearly, the Knicks are operating outside of the way.
He's okay, Oscar. He's okay.
I'm doing just fine.
Because I do want, before we go to break real quick, Bobby, get your response to this, and we'll dive into more of it here in the next segment. Because one of the things, and I tweeted out, a couple hours ago, it feels like in a lot of ways, the Mavericks are allowing the Knicks to openly disrespect the relationship with their head coach by allowing him to be publicly courted, whether it be through what we've heard from reporting, the reports not being shot down by the Mavericks. I guess I shouldn't be, surprised by the idea, given all the things that have happened over the last 4 months. But the idea that the Mavericks are just simply allowing this to continue to happen when they could simply come out today or a week ago and say, this is not happening, whether they decide to call or not, we are not allowing Jason Kidd to interview for this job. It seems that simple.
If Jason Kidd interviews, what benefit is it to him to interview and then end up back on the Mavericks and go back to a coaching style, to a locker room full of players, maybe his biggest strength as a head coach, and say, and for them to all know that he was actively looking and talking to another team about another job, especially when things are supposed to be on the up. Things are supposed to be optimistic. I think the framing, the optics for Jason Kidd are a lot better right now, where he's just, okay, well, if you reach out and interview, I think the optics change a lot. So I just think all parties, and by all parties I mean Jason Kidd and the New York Knicks. We know what the New York Knicks want. We're about to talk about what Jason Kidd wants, but I think all parties benefit from the interview, the request to interview, whether the Mavericks
I know we got to
going
get to break,
to,
but totally. This code. Permission to interview, due diligence was the way ESPN's. It's all code.
the public framing.
The NBA runs on back channel discussion. This is the reality.
And it runs on public framing of back channel stuff happening, but you gotta portray it in a way that isn't quite what it is.
Let's take our first break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, is Jason Kidd angling for this job, or is this a leverage play for him to get more out of the Mavericks? We'll dive into that all coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But first, let me put some money in your pocket when it comes to Cash App. Cash App is a safe, easy, and fast way to send, receive, and transfer money to family and friends. It's easy with instant setup. You just enter your phone or email, and no bank account is needed as well. It's also secure and safe. If you are about to send money to a scam, Cash App will let you know exactly, hey, you don't want to send your money there, and it gives you a chance to not have your money be jeopardized. With Cash App, you're able to get the money as quickly as you can. It's your money. You should be able to get it exactly when you want to. For a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash, and there's no catch as well. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code DLLS Mavs in your profile to send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Remember, terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App.
Hey, let me put some floors in your home. You like what I did there?
I don't want you to put some floors in my home.
Yeah, we don't.
You're gonna do
How
it?
would you feel about Empire Today doing that?
I would love
that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
honestly,
much
that
better.
sounds a lot better
That's
to
a
me
lot
because
better.
you know what? I am not a flooring expert. I don't think about flooring every day of my life. Think about it a lot more.
You're the guy who works at the big box stores who was just in
yesterday.
In pipes.
You're a grifter.
Yesterday, I was doing light bulbs. Tomorrow, I might be doing patio furniture.
Can't trust him.
You know
Can't
what?
trust him.
Empire Today, they're locked into floors every single day of their lives, every single second of their days. They live and breathe flooring, and they're going to be with you every step of the way. Get it? Step.
On the floor.
I think I just noticed that for the first time. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a whole different ballgame with Empire Today. Their flooring experts can bring their showroom right to your home, and you're going to get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. You can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard that right, a $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DLLS for full details.
Is Jason Kidd angling for the Knicks job, or is he trying to extract more out of the Dallas Mavericks to remain their head coach? We'll get more into that here in just a moment as we continue to dive into the latest when it comes to the Jason Kidd saga and potentially him heading to the New York Knicks. Make sure you download and subscribe to our DLLS Mavs podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review for it while you're there. Before we get into that, Bobby, do you have anything you wanted to add from what we discussed?
Are you okay?
During that first? Are you okay?
I'm doing fine. I don't really have any strong opinions about this at all. It doesn't really feel like anything's changed. It all feels very procedural. It all feels very NBA-y.
NBA.
I just don't really have a very strong opinion about it one way or the other.
Okay.
Just give me Washington's 2026 first round pick. That's it.
You want the assets. You want to build the roster potentially with.
Just give me some picks, man.
That should be on your tombstone.
Yeah. Just give me some picks.
Give me
and
all
get it
the
over
picks.
with. Just
Give
get it
me
over
all
with.
the-
Come on, like this the second week of June. I understand that it's the finals, so people should be talking about this here, but we can't resist talking about other
He was
stuff.
an in-studio guest a couple weeks ago, and now you're just like, give me some picks.
Just get him out of here. Get him out of here. I just don't really.
I am just very grateful that this saga is better than the last coaching saga that happened in last year's finals.
Oh, with JJ Redick and the Los Angeles
Oh,
Lakers.
yeah.
Hurley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
where
right.
the
moving on,
lead story
moving on,
before
moving on.
every game was Jason.
Classic Sting Lover agreed with you with his with their super chat. KG.
With the $4.99 super chat. This front office is an S show. I was debating coming back because of cooperflagg, but I can't until the front office is gone. So classic Sting Lover with some strong feelings when it comes to the idea of the Mavericks front office. It just feels like in a lot of ways that the Mavericks have had many chances to be able to put this to bed. As Mark has reported, the Rockets did so very strongly with the idea that they would swat away any potential requests from the New York Knicks. And it feels like for an organization that has already had questionable dealings with the New York Knicks in terms of tampering with a former player that obviously plays for the New York Knicks, that you would not want to have anything to do with this franchise who has actually had, the kind of dealings that it's had with it. So for them to kind of just allow this to just fester and go on, I think speaks a lot to how the situation is playing out. But the title of Mark Stein's latest piece last night, the latest on the Knicks coaching search and their interest in Jason Kidd. Let's dive into the idea of, is Jason Kidd angling for this job, Mark Stein, or is this more of a leverage play?
I see that in the chat too.
Yeah.
I know a couple of our friends in there have said the same thing. And look, this is because of what went down 10 years ago, because Jason Kidd coached one season with the Nets and then moved to Milwaukee. The discussion has become, this is what Jason Kidd always does. And like last season in the playoffs, the Lakers fired Darvin Ham. It was immediately said that the Lakers had interest in hiring Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks gave him a 2-year contract extension because the Lakers did have interest in Jason Kidd, because obviously LeBron James and Anthony Davis was still a Laker at that time, and they both loved Jason Kidd. So that's what happened. Was Jason Kidd angling for the Laker job in the middle of the playoffs? I would say no. Now, in this case, what has he done? What has he angled? What has he done? He coached Jalen Brunson. They spent a season together in Dallas. That's a big part of what this all stems from. From my seat, I don't believe he's angling for this job. You know where Jason Kidd has been the last 2 days? He's been in the office and at the Mavs free agent workouts. The Mavs are yesterday and today are auditioning guys who are heading for free agency, guys like Dennis Smith. Cam Reddish was in town as well, guys who are trying to stay in the league. Part of what happened in Milwaukee, Mark Lasry, who was one of the 2 Bucks co-owners at the time, is very close with Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd does not end up coaching the Bucks, coaching Giannis Antetokounmpo, if Mark Lasry is not there. And that relationship was a big part of what landed Kidd there. But so, then I guess there's this notion that, is he supposed to come out and say, show me a coach on the map? If the Knicks are interested in you, show me a coach on the map who's going to come out and say, no, don't come after me with your bazillions of dollars.
Isn't it fair to say that's what Houston did through Ime Udoka?
The team needs to do it.
Yes, I do agree with that. The team needs to do it.
But if the team hasn't done it, I at least understand how people could look at the situation and say, well, maybe the team isn't doing it because they're not sure their head coach wants them to do it.
To me, because the Mavericks haven't done it in a firm way, and the Knicks have not come out and said, no, you media idiots are all wrong. We don't want Jason Kidd. I don't think that adds up to Jason Kidd is angling for the job.
I think angling is I mean, I don't know. Angling is such a specific word, and what exactly he's doing in the situation. I just wanted to bring a couple things. First, just in total fairness, Jason Kidd as a player, this was more than a decade ago, but Jason Kidd as a player did something similar.
100%. Hey, I covered that story, and knock on wood. That was a good scoop for
Stein. That ruined a vacation.
Yeah.
That ruined a family vacation.
Everyone thought he was coming to the Mavericks, and he ended up going to the Knicks.
Yeah,
and he was the second Mav to do so. Kurt Thomas did it in 1999-ish, and then
DeAndre Jordan famously
Jason did it in 2012.
Did the biggest and funniest version of that. So just out of fairness, I want to bring up that there is at least one more thing that you can point at. The other thing I'm going to say,
and I just want to, my guy Charlie Saturday, who I love Charlie Saturday like family, but like I knew he was going to be in this chat. Charlie Saturday loves the Milwaukee Bucks more than life, and so he's taking some fun shots at me. I see you, Charlie Saturday. It's fine, fire away. But this situation to me is not the Milwaukee Bucks all over again. It isn't.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, and I'm not disagreeing with anything that Jason Kidd is doing. I want to point out two other things. First, I heard as early as February and reported in April that there is a lot of chatter. There has been a lot of chatter and discussion around the league about Jason Kidd's future and whether he would be in Dallas next season. And I stand by that reporting. I stand by everybody I talked to. I feel I had, the people who I was talking to who were hearing this conversation. Again, it was a little bit different than saying Jason Kidd is angling and desperately wants out. But it was people saying, we don't know if Jason Kidd, a lot of people are wondering and don't know whether Jason Kidd is going to be in Dallas. So I'm going to bring that back up just in the context of now there is a drawn out saga of Jason Kidd potentially going somewhere else. The other thing I want to bring up is that I don't think Dallas is an amazing situation for a head coach and a front office next season because cooperflagg is now looming over everything. This team is choosing to win now, to try to win now. They're going to do that even with Kyrie Irving out for half the season. If that doesn't go well, it is easier than ever, especially with Nico Harrison publicly, or like being very, very toxic publicly. He is not somebody who is appearing. It is Jason Kidd who is appearing in media and interviews. It is not Nico Harrison. I don't expect we are going to hear from Nico Harrison.
Put up Juan Martinez's comment.
Probably
Tanner.
Until I don't think we're going to
be
hear,
a fine involved here.
I don't think we're going to hear from Nico Harrison the rest of the year. I don't think he's going to do a public interview. I could be wrong, but that is the most reasonable PR choice to make with him. There is a scenario where if Dallas does not succeed, it gets easier. I do not know what's going to happen. And quite frankly, I think if you're sticking with this plan that this team, this core, this veteran core can win, and then you can also rebuild with Cooper after that, I think it's actually pretty foolish to judge next year's results just because Kyrie is going to be out for so long that it's going to be so difficult to expect this team to get up to where it needs to be. But it's going to be so much easier if you're Patrick Dumont, I would have to imagine, to potentially pull the trigger and say, all right, actually, this is not working. Off to a rough start. Kyrie's coming back, but the team's 10 games under 500. The team, Anthony Davis got injured again and is a situation where, there's no saving this season. Why would Kyrie even come back this year? There is real possibilities if things don't go their way. Just because things did not go their way last season, that doesn't earn you good karma. That doesn't mean you go into next season and just think, now we're going to have a perfectly healthy injury season without any injuries, with total health. That's not how it works. If this happens again, it is easier than ever to just rebuild around Cooper. That is always there. Now, total rebuild, but to put somebody else in the head coaching position, to put somebody else in the front office, that these are things that could happen next season. They are plausible. They are not tiny odds. There's not tiny odds of this happening. There are perfectly plausible things that could play out. And if you're Jason Kidd, yeah, maybe you do one out. So I think you said this, Bobby, too. If he wants out of a situation that's very messy.
But he doesn't. Look, this is, and can you put up Charlie's quote? Because Charlie's, I love this man. This is what Charlie Saturday just said about me. The love is mutual, and I genuinely respect your loyalty to the man. It's commendable. But Kidd could light the AAC on fire, and you would blame the sprinkler system. So, look, Charlie Saturday's my guy. We have this back and forth forever. And what it is, I just feel like Jason Kidd as a coach is continually disrespected. Jalen Brunson, the belief is that the Knicks' interest, a big part of it is because Jalen Brunson, by all accounts, would like to play for him. I'm convinced that Anthony Davis wants to play for Jason Kidd in Dallas. I'm even more convinced that Kyrie Irving wants to play for no one else but Jason Kidd in Dallas. I know for a fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo still holds the man in extremely high regard.
So why aren't they all on the Mavs?
And yet another reason why the Knicks are said to want Jason Kidd is the conspiracy theory belief that Giannis would have more interest in the Knicks if Jason Kidd was coaching there. All of these great players like and respect and want to play for Jason Kidd, and that's never talked about. And as an observer of the game, I'm just...
So if that's the case...
This show half the comments throughout the season are about how everybody in chat can outcoach this guy who all these players want to play for. So, I mean, that is what I'm really talking about. That, again, Charlie and I love to have this back and forth. I think he is routinely and continually disrespected for his coaching acumen and what he's achieved as a coach.
So if the Mavericks know this, let's go with that. If the Mavericks know this, they could have said a week ago, this is our guy. And not only is this our guy, we are going to reaffirm our commitment to him and maybe even take it a step further by adding another year or two to his contract to ensure that he is the coach for now and the future. If we're to go with that, why hasn't this organization simply taken that step? If we are to believe all of that.
I am right there with you, Super Kev, and I don't know. Because just for
if he's that damn good of a coach, lock him up.
I personally believe that Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving would be pretty disappointed, would be pretty dismayed if Jason Kidd, if Jason Kidd ended up coaching the Knicks.
Throw his ass in jail. Right, exactly.
I don't think the Mavs' two cornerstone players would be very excited about that situation. But that's just me.
Coming up on the other side of the break, we're going to discuss more. Because I have a simple question for Mark Stein I want to ask him when it comes to this. But also as well when it comes to the Mavericks and their situation. What's a sneaky move that would make you happy this summer? We'll discuss that coming up next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
First, if you love Wendy's classic Frosty flavors, and I love a nice chocolate Frosty, well, we got some big news. You've probably seen us eating these bad boys, some of these Frosty Swirl and Frosty fusion flavors that you can get at Wendy's in either chocolate or vanilla. It's the same creamy treat you've always loved, now with the flavor refresh. What are these new flavors? Well, they got the Frosty Swirls, which includes strawberry, brownie batter, which is Kat's favorite, and caramel, which was delightful. And then they have Frosty Fusions, Oreo brownie. I believe that's, I think that might be the office's favorite.
That's definitely my favorite for sure.
I'm a Pop-Tart strawberry loyalist. The caramel crunch is also delightful. I've eaten a lot of Frosties in the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie to you. But you can still get, again, classic vanilla, classic chocolate. There's so many options to choose from. Whatever flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. Frosty for it. Jeez. So clock in for a sweet treat anytime, including midnight or later, with Wendy's all new Frosty flavors. A refresh on a classic. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
If you want to keep that Frosty cooler, you got to use Rugged Road coolers to be able to do it. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the very best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensure they keep up with any adventure. Coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days, and oftentimes much longer than that. They're perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing to tubing to camping to tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every sports and outdoor enthusiast. So make sure you gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. They're reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. That's ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off today. What's a sneaky move that you would be happy that the Mavericks would do this summer that would get you excited going into this offseason? We'll dive into that here in just a moment. But to finish up our conversation on the whole thing with Jason Kidd, because one of the things I just found fascinating about this would be like, and this is not for these two gentlemen because they're not married or anything, but Mark Stein will understand the reference. This is like,
just own us.
Yeah, I did. Get a girl or something. Well, yeah, never mind.
Jeez,
anyway,
man.
This would be like,
I'm catching strays from Luds and you and everyone.
Well, welcome to the
show. What did Lud say?
Luds was like, Bobby, why are you going home? You got nothing going on whenever you get there. Like, all right. live on a Stars post game with like 1,200 people watching or whatever. It's like, fine, Luds.
I can. What's happening?
Did you drop the gloves and go at it?
No, not with
He's
him.
not fighting Luds. Come on now.
I'm not fighting anyone.
This is akin to like, okay, let's say me and my wife are just like walking in the park, right? And some dude like walks up to my wife and sees the ring like on my wife's finger, but looks at her and says, "Hey, I want to take you out. Not only do I want to take you out, I want to get married to you." While I'm standing there looking at old boy trying to take my wife from me. That's what it feels like the Knicks are doing when it comes to Jason Kidd and this whole saga, like openly disrespecting the relationship, the relationship that the Mavericks have with their head coach. And I just find it fascinating that the Mavericks have just not decided to just stop all of this because they're openly just like letting the Knicks, whether it be through, the public or whatever, back channels, whatever the case may be, do this. But I do have a simple question for you, Mark Stein. When it comes to all this, does Jason Kidd have interest in taking that job? We keep hearing about all the interest that the Knicks have in Jason Kidd. Does he have interest?
I cannot speak for him. I don't know again, Wendy, my guy, said there's mutual intrigue. That was the phrase he used. But again, I think it's more, here's a hypothetical. What happens if the Knicks, through the back channels, tomorrow, tonight, Friday, whatever, what happens if the Knicks say, we want to give Jason Kidd $60 million over 5? Is there a coach who wouldn't listen to that or have intrigue, mutual intrigue? Any coach, I just don't think a coach, even Eric Spoelstra, if the Knicks were going to throw some crazy offer at him, I would imagine there would be intrigue to hear what it is. I just do not believe it is on the coach to come out and say no. I mean, he's doing his job. He's been the Mavs have deployed him as the spokesman for all things Cooper Flagg. He was on this show, the Dan Patrick Show, Fox 4 with Ducey and Sam Gannon. He did local radio. He's in the office today. I don't know what else he's supposed to do, but I don't think any coach in this league is saying, no, New York, please don't come at me with some crazy rich offer.
Okay. Because I would just love to know that, because we keep hearing about all the interest from one side.
I do not think he is looking to leave Dallas. He is very settled here. His family is very settled here. And he is very close with the two superstars who are in place. And, Cooper Flagg, this is one of the elements of this that is to me the most worrisome. The short-term concern here is Cooper Flagg is scheduled to be in Dallas a week from today. Is this story still going to be rumbling on a week from today? If I'm the Mavericks, I would not want it to still be a story a week from today when Cooper Flagg is making a visit to Dallas. That to me is...
Because the optics are terrible. That's also my ultimate belief. Like, the optics right now don't look great when you get ready to host the number one pick in your facility that you're going to be drafting here coming up in 15 days. But we'll have more on this. Whatever developments come up when it comes to the Jason Kidd saga, we'll continue to follow those. But what is something that would get you excited in terms of maybe a sneaky move or something that you would enjoy the Mavericks doing?
Let Bobby talk
this offseason.
I was going to say, welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thanks, everybody.
How was your weekend?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
Cook Corella.
Saw tennis last night. Great band.
What's the under-radar move that would make you happy this summer, Corella?
All right, so I have a few. So these are non-obvious names. We've spent the last month or so or more talking about guys that they could trade for, or pursuing free agency or draft. Obviously,
Lonzo Ball, Colin Sexton, Chris Paul.
Yeah, none of those guys.
Jrue Holiday.
Those are all on the radar. All right, so I'm going under the radar. Okay. I'm going below the radar. I'm flying real low. A couple free agents. All right, and I'm mostly thinking for these guys, these are like playmakers, okay? These are guys that can handle the ball, fill in, that you can get on the minimum.
Okay.
I want you, I'll say the names and then you guys give me like thumbs up, thumbs down, like we're gladiatoring this.
Okay. All right.
Campaign.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, I guess you gotta verbalize it for the pod audience. For the pod audience.
I'm neutral, shifting slightly up. But
okay.
I'm not a campaign guy, but in terms of like,
not a campaign guy.
You're more of like a multiplayer guy.
But I see the value of like, I do think he can create some shots. I think he's better than Spencer Dinwiddie.
I would agree.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think what the Mavs need, a guy that can kind of get places.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
How about a guy
that's why I'm like leaning more up than down.
Less known for his playmaking, but still can handle the ball. A guy that we all totally remembered was on the team that he was on whenever he was in the playoffs. DeLon Wright.
Interesting. Two Knicks
Former
guys.
Mavs legend.
I think I'd be more in on campaign than DeLon Wright, even though I like DeLon Wright better as a player.
I feel like with both of those guys, there's no way they're going to keep both of them. They
True.
have Deuce as well and Jalen.
DeLon Wright is kind of falls into the. I don't think he's better than Dante Exum. I'd rather, if I'm the Mavericks, I'd rather bring back Dante Exum.
Okay, I think I would too. A guy that I feel like has been linked to the Mavs for his entire career, Alec Burks.
I'm thumbs up on that. I'm a Alec Burke guy.
Ooh, thumbs down.
I'm probably thumbs down on that.
Oh, wow.
Feels like he's a tough shot maker, not a shot creator.
58.7 EFG last year. Granted, it was his career high, and only
That is pretty good.
only the third time in his career he was above 50, which is pretty shocking. All right, this guy, upcoming free agent. These next two are less playmakers, more point of attack defenders. Gary Payton II. I'm a big Gary Payton II fan.
I am too. Nice glue guy. I'll go thumbs up on Gary Payton II.
Is he better than Dante Exum? Does he pass the Exum line?
I think he's a better point of attack defender than Dante.
And more
I agree with
athletic,
that.
too.
Offensively, I don't think he's as good as Dante. But then again, honestly,
Payton can make a
good cutter, decent passer,
yeah.
good rebounder for his size.
Can make
Put
a power
that-
3 or 2 every now and
Eats up
then.
How
space.
sure are we that his offensive success translates outside of the Warrior system?
Who can say?
For that reason, I'm thumbs down.
Oh,
He's
wow.
a defense wins championship
You said Chris
guy.
Paul yet?
No, under the radar.
Oh, my bad. I wasn't listening.
I think
We're
they
calling
need-
it the Chris Paul radar. I think.
I think they
Okay.
need more point of attack. I don't know. I could easily talk myself into Gary Payton.
I've liked him forever, so I'm very biased. This guy, not a free agent, but is entering the last year of a pretty modestly priced deal. Josh Okogie.
Thumbs down.
I'm out on Suns. Yeah.
He's on
you're
the
out
Hornets
on
right
any
now. It's
Suns.
even better.
Yeah.
It's even better.
Anyone who is a
He's-
Sun, Super Kev.
He's
is
on
out.
my list of guys I don't like watching.
Unless his name is Kevin
He is
Durant.
pretty good.
He's a worse he's a worse defensive player than Caleb Martin, and Caleb Martin's ceiling as an offensive player is way higher than him. So,
Okay. All right. I don't know how they would get this guy, but he plays for a team that's got a lot of players. AJ Mitchell from the Thunder. Entering the final year of his essentially rookie deal at $3 million.
Is that
I-
spelled A-J-A-Y?
AJAY.
Yeah, I'm out.
You just don't like shortening words. All right. You want to call him like Adam Jonathan or whatever the AJ stands for. You don't like
AJ.
abbreviations.
You think he's available?
I don't know.
Wait, which AJ?
AJ Mitchell, the guard for the Thunder.
Okay, that's who I thought you were
He's
talking
like their
about.
24th best player.
Yeah,
I
played
don't.
in game one.
The
I think
Thunder
he's
have
awesome.
way too many players on their team. It
They
should
do.
not be allowed. They have way too many.
I
players.
think Mitchell, AJ Johnson. Yeah, that's
AJ Johnson. That's a whole different guy.
Yeah, that's a very different guy, a much better guy. I think AJ Mitchell is good, but I just don't know if the Thunder. I don't know if a player entering. I don't know if a rookie is trying to leave his team that's in the finals.
He's more likely to get minutes in Dallas, though. That's for sure.
For sure. But if he was 2 years into only playing a little bit, like he got some chances as a rookie.
Yeah.
He got a big. I think the mindset of a rookie in that situation is like, oh man, I played a little bit on a championship team. Wait till I get to year 2.
Maybe.
Maybe you're right.
It's also
we
not
don't
his
know.
choice. He's not a free agent.
Right.
A guy that they could trade for. Not sure he's available, but he plays for a really sorry team. A personal favorite of mine, Jose Alvarado.
Oh, for sure. Thumbs up. Yeah.
$4.5 million in
Yeah,
the
but
last year. of his deal.
is he? I mean, could he start and run your team till Kyrie's back?
No.
Do
But
you know who would love
I like him
Jose
as a player
Alvarado
enough
on this
that
team?
I still would go get him.
Your boy, Najee Marshall. Him and Jose Alvarado real tight.
You,
I like-
you want the knife to be happy, don't you?
You want the
But
knife to be happy, don't
I
you?
don't see Jose Alvarado starting over the knife at point guard. I think if Jose
They still
was
need
here,
playmakers. It doesn't matter if he starts or comes off the bench. They need playmakers.
I like that Alvarado really gets downhill. He adds to the shooting issue.
He seems like
but-
he has wonderful vibes. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah, for
He
sure.
seems like a great
I would
vibes
love
guy.
a Jose Alvarado type on this team. He would be great.
Lastly,
Dog.
easily the most expensive contract of the guys that are still under contract, but another personal favorite of mine, Terrence Mann.
Ooh.
I have no idea what the Hawks are doing. Like I don't know what the
They always
the
have
Hawks
this.
Man is a
deal
weird
is.
player.
They bother
I
my
have
spirit.
never.
Gunga Din
known-
wants Reed Shepard. You know what? don't think the Rockets are parting with him.
Or
Yeah.
if they are, it's going to be in like a trade.
Very,
for
very,
Giannis.
very
for Giannis
pricey.
or Kevin Durant.
He's not
Exactly.
under the radar.
Yeah.
He's not on the radar. Bobby, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have never known what to think of Terrence Mann.
How would PJ Washington feel about Terrence Mann?
Yeah, I'm in on
squad?
Terrence Mann. He's pretty old, but yeah, I'm in on Terrence Mann. Yes,
Terrence Mann
definitely,
is-
definitely easy thumbs up. Most expensive. So I was also couching this in like, what's the first names you said are more realistic, and so it's easier for me to say thumbs up to a guy as like, oh yeah, like you would have to give something up for Terrence Mann. So that's part of the factor here.
Terrence Mann responsible for one of the most viral moments in Mavericks recent memory, standing on business, playoffs.
That's true.
Thank you for your services.
There's
There's a pair of scissors just sitting on the floor over there. It's making me kind of nervous. Tanner, be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Well, should we read the super chat?
We'll get to it at the end. We'll get into
But
it
it
next
applies
time.
to this.
I
like Dennis-
We need a break.
a $2 pound is euro.
That's a pound. No, that's a euro. Yes.
From Johnny Keane. I like Dennis Schroeder on this team. Very underrated. He's also very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, look, Schroeder, I think the Mavericks would love him, but there's already, free agency is still technically, what is today? June 10th. So free agency is 20 days away. There's already pessimism in the air that they would have any realistic chance at Schroeder. So that tells you that the famed back channel discussion that we referenced earlier, that the rumbles are already that he's going to be too pricey.
That guy's been like max deal minimum, a lot of money minimum again still somehow. And then
The Warriors thought he
mid-level,
was a
and now he's
missing
like
piece.
super awesome.
Yeah.
Like his career has just been wild.
He was really good for Detroit when he went over to them, though. Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. When we come back, let's go around the association. The Giannis Antetokounmpo put the trade rumors to bed by this statement. We'll talk about it next on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
First, it's Die Hard time. You can join our legion of, I believe we're getting really close if we didn't just pass 1,500 diehards. Woohoo! Shout out to each and every one of you. We also recently passed 26,000 subs here on YouTube. So thank you all for watching the show, for subbing to our channel, liking the stream, commenting on the stream, sharing the stream, doing all that stuff. And thank you, of course, to every single one of you that has become a diehard. You can join that group by scanning the QR code, going to alldlls.com/join, I think. Or clicking, it's not join, I think. I think it's allcity.com, alldls. Whatever. Click the link in the description below, all right? And become a diehard. When you sign up, you get a free shirt of your choice. We got more than 40 shirts to choose from. More always coming. If any future shirts come out that you like, hey, you get a discount on those too. You save 20% on every single order. Right now, we are running our Ball Knower bonus. You can predict who will win Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We're also doing hockey as well. If you pick the Panthers to win Game 3, here's how the Ball Knower works. The Ball Knower bonus. I am struggling to speak today. You activate that bonus.
Usually
you place
you have
an
more
order.
practice
I do. Yeah.
leading up to this.
You activate that bonus. You place an order of
That was
more
good.
than $25. If you predict the winner correctly, then you are instantly credited with 100% of the money you just spent as a gift card. So you can double your merch order for free. It is great. Whenever you sign up, you also get to join the DLS Diehard Discord Lounge. Great place to hang out with your fellow diehards. You get to go to alldls.com and read all of Tim Cato's coverage and all the other coverage of all the beats in town.
Can I interest you in a physical diehard
You
card?
can. How do you get a physical diehard card? Where do you get that from?
I think hitting the QR code is involved somehow.
Oh my god! And you get a physical diehard card. We're also going to Vegas. Check out our site for that. It's way too late in the ad read for me to mention it because I was stumbling on so many words. But we're going to Vegas in November to watch Cows at Raiders on Monday Night Football.
Cowboys. That's right. Appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Before we go around the associations, let's get to a couple of the super chats that we have not gotten to. Johnny Keane spending all the euros this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, with the €5 one. Guys, we are just unlucky that we hired the 1 in a million GM that would trade Luka. Great to get Flagg, but losing Luka will be an all-time fumble.
Don Nelson would agree.
You would agree. Matthew Hooks with the $2 super chat. Until Nico is gone, this team doesn't matter anyway. Thank you.
Disagree a little bit. I mean, they're really good, obviously, getting Cooper in here and you make a couple moves.
Hope he's wrong,
They could
'cause if
definitely
this-
compete for a playoff
Hope he's
spot.
wrong, because if this team doesn't matter, that wouldn't be good for the show.
That would be really bad.
That's right.
I would love for the team to matter. Please matter.
Johnny King comes back with the €2. How can Kidd truly trust Nico again after the Luka Doncic trade?
Depends on who you ask. A lot of fans believe that Kidd was super in on it. Some people don't. I guess we'll never know the truth. Well, I mean, we'll know the truth at some
I need to
point.
know where Johnny Keane is if he's paying in euros. Johnny Keane, please add that info to the chat.
And Jason Kidd also says a lot. You know, he's the chef. He doesn't go buy the ingredients. Again, to the extent that anything Jason Kidd ever says to the media into a microphone matters. You know, and I don't mean
he said
that
on our podcast mattered a lot, and they were all truthful.
Correct. But everything else, you know, I would say this about every single head coach in the league, and I think Jason Kidd particularly has a sense of, you know, he's just going to say things. He's just going to say things and move on and go to the next question. But yeah, that's what he says. And clearly, you know, I think that's the whole debate, you know, is you know, you could, there's a million ways to look at it. You know, was he actually all in on it the whole time? You know, I don't think that he wanted the trade to happen like that when it did in that manner. That's what I've reported. That's what I believe. Beyond that, was he interested in in a Luka trade? People vary in what they say about this. You could even look back at the infamous Babe Ruth quote,
which was kind of cool apparently.
You know, like if there's some secret, like, just total schism between Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison, you could look back on that comment in a very different light. I don't think that's the case, but you know, I think we explained at the time that it was more referencing a Dallas Morning News column. But yeah, I mean, you could see it any different way. But you know, the point is that, you know, the coach is going to coach with the players on the court, and you know, it wasn't Nico who went and got Cooperflagg, obviously, but coaching Cooperflagg is a pretty good pitch for any head coach. It's a pretty good pitch on a team that does have a lot of talent and pieces. You know, again, my whole thing is I just hope they understand and take as seriously as possible what this Kyrie absence next season, for more than half of the season, is potentially going to do to their chances to be successful next year, because I think it really, really affects what this roster is going to be able to do.
Bobby, would you like to read Ozzy D's $4.99 super chat?
I got a lot of problems with you, Ozzy. We're going to lay them out right now. Ozzy D jumps in with the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate you. Bobby, I'm a man.
I'm 40.
And then proceeds to take a scoop from a kid-sized Frosty. First off, it's not kid-sized. Those are large Frosties,
They
all right?
actually
And
are,
I'm able to
kinda.
eat all of them because I'm a big, strong, growing man, all right?
All right.
Also, is there a scenario where a kid leaves and triggers a rebuild? Because that would be a question more for the insiders. I would be of the opinion that if he leaves, everything is going to just kind of proceed as normal. If there is any sort of rebuild, I don't think it would happen until either next year or a few years down the line, personally. But that's just me speaking out of my rear end.
Quote via Coast to Coast Brazil: the finals are different. I hope to be back soon with the Bucks, end quote.
It's a weird thing for Kyrie to say.
It's not. Or actually it would be, but that's not who said it. Giannis Antetokounmpo provided that quote when discussing his potential future and discussing the NBA Finals. Did Giannis, gentlemen, just put to bed the idea that he wants to be traded from Milwaukee, in your humble opinions, with that statement?
No.
Would you care to expound on that?
I just think it was a interview and he answered it. It was a question and he answered it.
Do you still feel like Giannis could be traded this summer?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Kato, any hot thoughts on that particular
It's
statement?
very carefully, interestingly worded statement.
Very politically correct statement from Giannis. We'll see. What
It seems like he's once again balancing the, oh boy, what if I got traded, but I'm not going to be the one who asked for it? Which, as Damian Lillard has learned, means that you might just stay a few years in limbo.
Yeah, my hot take on that is that I think the Bucks should make that decision for Giannis and move him in their own interests versus Giannis waiting to ask or them waiting for Giannis to ask out.
Johnny Keane listening in Ireland.
Oh,
Let's go.
appreciate you listening in Ireland. Shout out to Johnny Keane. Here's something that is kind of funny. You're going to see this a lot when it comes to the NBA offseason, players and their odds to go to a different team in particularly. This comes from Bovado Official. The Warriors are the favorites to land Lauri Markkanen in a potential trade. The Golden State Warriors are
Who is?
The Golden State Warriors.
No. Don't listen.
These
Do
are
not.
just-
No.
These are just odds.
No. No. We are not doing. The odds makers know nothing about trades. I do not want to hear what the odds makers have to say.
Just bust out the
I
flamethrower.
don't.
I was not expecting this.
I
I was
don't.
not expecting this.
This is the most worked up I think you've ever been on the show. You're fired up right now.
Do you think they know?
I don't know.
Do you think they've talked to anyone who knows? They're reading the
I don't
tweets
know.
and then just like, okay, hey, minus 200. No, we're not doing that.
If anything is ever minus 200, run away from that. This is not betting advice.
I'm not
though.
even sure I know what that means, but like, we're not doing that.
Well, just for the interest of the conversation,
Fine.
do you want to know who's plus 450 for those odds to acquire Lauri Markkanen?
Lowry.
Who, Tanner? That's right. The Dallas Mavericks
Yes.
are
yeah.
plus 450.
Yeah, you know, the Mavs have shown lots of whispered interest in another 7-footer. Yes, that's the plan.
It would be fun though.
Would it be fun for Lauri Markkanen on the team? Like,
Starting point guard, Najee. 2 guard, Cooperflagg. Small forward, Lowry. Power forward, Anthony Davis. Center, Derek Lively. Don't ask me how they get Lowry. I don't know what that means. I don't know how much he makes or anything.
that's a big
That would
big
be
lineup.
awesome. You could play like a
You guys
Like, if
just
you had a
talked
2-3
about
zone,
the
like,
39 guards you want
the
them to
back
add,
line
and now
of
you're
that
talking
zone
about
could, like,
Lauri Markkanen and how he
their
fits in the
Najee
wingspans
playing
like
point
cover the
guard.
whole court.
Yeah,
That would
exactly.
be awesome.
Yeah. Miami's at plus 250. Spurs are at plus 650. Just in case you were wondering, Mark Stein. Kyle Purdue with the
I believe that it is that Mexican pesos.
is
I
that
think?
pesos?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Sure think so.
I don't know, but thank you.
Well, thank you, Kyle. If Jason Kidd does leave, I would welcome it. To be honest, we've had our gripes with him, and I appreciate him for what he's done, what he does well. But Sean Sweeney at the helm with Cooperflagg being the two-way generational player he is equals boom.
It is unclear. Normally, whenever a head coach leaves, usually assistants will either go with him or they scatter around the league because the head coach does put the staff together in most cases. So unless one of the assistants was promoted, it is very likely that all of the assistants would be gone. But that is, it's a possibility. I mean, Sweeney's been in interviews every summer for years now.
He interviewed for the Phoenix Suns job, and as our Mark Stein reported, recently interviewed for a Spurs assistant. coach.
No. Spurs are interested.
Or excuse me, interested.
Spurs are
Thank you.
interested
Thank
in
you.
stealing Sean Sweeney
Thank you.
away. There has been.
Do they have any second round picks?
They have some firsts and seconds.
All right, let's talk. What are we waiting for?
Man,
Come on.
everyone is just tradable compensation to you. You've changed. I thought you were the most empathetic of the four of us.
I personally am just ready to
guy
fast
who
forward to the
guy
conclusion.
who I sat with and lost his mind because the Mavs acquired the draft rights to Olivier Maxence
because they got a pick.
He turned into a pick.
I mean, you tried to sneak out of the office yesterday to go to the Omax youth camp appearance.
I know. I had to send Abby in my place. She was able to get some content for us.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Johnny Keene, who comes in with another €2.
Let's go, Johnny
Chat.
Keene.
In Ireland, Mark, so slightly biased Luka Euro fan.
Don't have to be in Europe to be a biased Luka fan.
That's
we got many of them in the 214.
We got many of them in this room.
817 in the office.
That's gonna do it for us here on the DL.
Lively show.
Shout out to Derek.
Derek Lively show.
That's right.
Can we trade for Embiid? He makes a lot. It is possible for them to put together an offer. It is possible.
Do we just want the all-injured squad?
Let's see what the betting houses say tomorrow about Embiid to the Mavs.
Well, after this
I'm just gonna
show,
bring those to you.
they might increase or decrease based on what we say right now. We are newsmakers
That's
here,
right.
you know?
That's right.
We're conversation shapers.
We appreciate our guy Tanner putting up with us every single day, making us
I don't
look
know how
good.
he does it.
And I don't either.
I wouldn't do it.
He's
if I was
paid,
him.
honestly. If it ain't charity.
Appreciate you, Tanner. Thank you
Good
so much.
lunchtime show, everybody.
That's our National NBA insider, Mark Stein. You can always dial up the Steinline at the Steinline. That is our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Krill. That is our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 p.m. right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day.
Mr. Crazy, thank you. I will try. It's not raining here yet.
We all silly like the mayor.